Incoming!
How's it going, everybody? Rob here, back with another video. And with this one, well, I'm going to be doing a video, or a review, of a movie that, you know, to be perfectly honest, I consider it a guilty pleasure. It's a movie I kind of grew up on, and I'll be honest, right off the bat, I'm going to say, some of the acting's awkward, some of the stuff that goes on is awkward, the fact that Sean Connery is the voice of the dragon, it doesn't entirely fit at times, thinking about it, but at the same time, especially with it being kind of a, you know, I don't know if I can call this a fantasy adventure, but it's around that. But anyways, Dragonheart. It was directed by Rob Cohen, written by Patrick Reed Johnson and Charles Edgar Pogue, starring Dennis Quaid, Sean Connery, Dina Meyer, and many others. The main premise is you have this knight who, after dealing, or at least after feeling like he was betrayed by a dragon that saved the king of their country, or their wherever they're living, he proceeds to try to hunt down dragons, only to come across one dragon that may or may not be the last. And eventually they work together to, at first, scam the masses, but going further on, become heroes. Like I said before, it's an interesting film to watch. Even following the story a little bit, where you have this. It starts off with this this knight who is training the next person to become prince, or not prince but king. And due to unfortunate circumstances, the prince ends up getting involved in a raid, or actually no, I'm not going to call it a raid. It was actually a massacre that was caused by his father, the king, and he inevitably gets injured, fatally, or at least in a sense where it would have been fatal. They bring him to the queen, who then proceeds to take them to a dragon, who gives the prince a piece of his heart, and the prince is able to continue living. And soon after, it seems like his personality, from what we saw towards the beginning, drastically changes, where he becomes a malicious tyrant. The knight swears revenge and proceeds to start killing dragon after dragon after dragon, only to come across the dragon that we know, voiced by Sean Connery, and eventually them working together to kind of scam the nobles into service. But like I said, eventually when things become worse and get further and further involved into having to deal with the prince, or now the king, they proceed to become the heroes of the story. And eventually one of them ends up making the ultimate sacrifice in order to stop the prince. In terms of storytelling, it's an interesting story to tell. Writing, or at least not writing, but the characters are sometimes fun, sometimes awkward, and at times you're kind of wondering why. You had, oh gosh, what was his name? You had Pete Postlewaite, hopefully I said that correctly, playing Father Gilbert, who is probably the most awkward character of the film. And then let's not forget Sean Connery playing as Draco the Dragon, who, although Sean Connery has a very, very cool voice. It somewhat did not fit with the initial character for Draco. But we also had, oh my gosh, we had Jason Isaac, David Toulis as well. Brian Thompson as the character Brock, who's like this burly knight type character. And many, many others. Music, I'm gonna say it's iconic. In fact, it's so iconic that trailers, a lot of freaking trailers, were stealing it forever. Like, no joke. Like you guys know the theme I'm talking about, the main song for this movie. That movie has been overplayed time and time again for many early trailers in, what, the 90s? Yeah, the 90s. So, it's iconic. I'm going to say that. It's an earworm, and it's iconic. All in all, as much as in terms of like how certain things being like kind of awkward with the film, like I said, I can't hate it. I can't. It's one of those movies I kind of grew up on, and looking back at it, it's one that I would somewhat classify as a guilty pleasure, because it's a film that has, I would say, almost aged poorly, but at the same time, actually, if anything, I want to say it's almost like, I hate to put it in the same category, but it's almost like in the same vein as the first Dungeons & Dragons with, oh my gosh, with one of the Wayans brothers and, you know who I'm talking about, but either way, it's, in terms of like Dungeons & Dragons, it has its faults, it's bad, but at the same time, you want to watch it because of how bad it is. And I'm, like I said, I didn't want to seem like I'm putting DRAGONHEART in the same category, but despite its awkwardness, you still like a lot of the things that come about it. So, in terms of rating as well, and this is a quick review because there's not much I really want to talk about. All in all, overall, it's, like I said, it's a good movie. Awkward, but it's a good movie. So, for life of me, I want to give it something higher, but I can't. So, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to give DRAGONHEART a 6 out of 10. It's a classic. It has its faults, but it has its good moments as well. And it is enjoyable, to say the least. So, anyway. That was my review of DRAGONHEART. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Again, relatively short for this review. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. If you have anything you'd like to add, any comments about the movie, please let me know. Leave in the comments down below. Like, share, subscribe, all the good stuff. If you guys want to follow us on all of our socials, it's all in the description down below, as well as check out our daily content and the weekly podcast. With that being said, this is Rob Novakast signing off. Have a good one. Take care, and I'll see you guys next video.